Ladies and gentlemen, joining us right now, making a triumphant return to the Farzy Show. You know him, you love him. His name is Michael Barkann. And Michael Barkann over there at NBC Sports Philadelphia, Phillies pre and post, Eagles pre and post, amongst a slew of other things, and just celebrated 25. Look, hold on. Look at that.
Is that nice? I'm going to tell you a little story about that. Those flowers were sent, as you know, from my family. And no sooner do I get them than Ricky Bo and Ben Davis are like, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. These flowers. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Then I say to Ricky Bo, I said, normally if they were small, because they were big, I had to carry them with a basket with both hands. And so normally I would bring them home. But because they were on the occasion of my 25 years with NBC Sports Philadelphia, I wanted to leave them there because of what they represented. But I said to Ricky, I said, do you want me to leave them? Oh, no, you don't have to leave it. You don't have to take them home. It's fine. Next day he comes in, I can't breathe. I said, dude. So finally, they're home. They're upstairs wilting, thanks to him.
No, but in all seriousness, congratulations on 25 years at NBC. You have built that place, and I hope they acknowledge that. You put them. I saw you put the bricks in. I remember driving by on 95. I'm like,
I did.
Build a place.
I had the cement, the trowel, the whole bit. In fact, I actually had a brick. You know, when they built the Wells Fargo Center, they allowed you to purchase bricks. And I bought one on my that commemorated my first day at then Comcast Sportsnet, and it just said Barkann's back 9/15/97, and it's still there, not even chipped, nothing. So
that's
a special thing.
Well,
I don't know
congratulations.
When to redo it, but we'll see.
One thing on the 25 years there, and I know that there's many moments you've had there, many enjoyable moments, many great things, but when you think back, is there a moment that you think about more often than not over those 25 years?
Yes, obviously it's the championships, and you know, having grown up in this area, what sports can do for a community. And I know a lot of people are like, well, we shouldn't be spending our dollars on sports. And I agree with that fundamentally, stadiums and all that stuff. But when you see the Phillies win a championship and the parade and the joy, and there are a lot of people that have a lot of stuff going on in their lives, any little tidbit that can give anybody joy or make them happy is, I think, a beautiful thing. And so the Phillies in 2008, that was the first thing. And baseball, it's such a rarity to be able to go to the postseason. Certainly there are more teams that get in now, but back then it was just amazing. In 2007, when they first got in, and that was, I think, after 14 years away, and to get back in, and they lost to Colorado, as we know, but they hosted that series to begin, and to have baseball on a national scale back in Philadelphia for the postseason was great. And then the parade, it was all surreal, as I'm sure you'll probably agree. It was, is this really happening to us? Are we in heaven or what? And then the same thing happened with the Eagles. And just the fact that the Eagles, I mean, let's be honest, the Eagles rule in Philadelphia. Sure. And to see that parade, to see that when the clock hit 0, and then they were the champions of the NFL was absolutely incredible. I didn't even know what to do. I'm sure a lot of fans felt the same way. And when you grew up watching the Eagles, and maybe you have family members who are no longer with us, or you were a kid when you first saw them, and you couldn't believe it either. We were all stunned. It was a beautiful thing. And that's what keeps me coming back, Farzy. That is what keeps me coming back, is that joy, that excitement of watching the game, seeing. I never got in it for salary cap talk, man. I never got in it for, we're threatening to move the franchise. I never got in it for any of that BS. I got in it because of great plays, great athletic performances. We all played sports, and when you can watch it at that level, and then your team is number one, and you can brag on them for a year, that's an amazing thing. Don't you agree?
1,000%.
Right to the church show.
1,000%. No, you're putting out poetry, my friend. I just sit here and listen. It's wonderful. 1,000%. And yeah, I mean, I've said this many times before. My cousin Joey Maiello is the first person I thought of when the Eagles won. He had passed and didn't get to experience it. Was a big Eagles fan, had 700 level seats, So yeah, absolutely. Yep. The first person I thought of, man. So you have definitely been in the center of it all over the last 25 years. Now we find ourselves, and absolutely, we find ourselves in interesting territory, because all of a sudden the Phillies, after moving on from Joe Girardi, are now in the playoffs. The Eagles are undefeated at the time that we of course, taped this interview. Now, I am looking at this as just like those moments you just talked about, those pinch me moments. Is this real? The Phillies being in the playoffs. When did you have a sense, because I know they struggled towards the end as they always seem to do. When did you have a sense that, oh my goodness, this team could really make a postseason run here?
Well, I had a sense that they could do it in the offseason when you saw what Dave Dombrowski did with the roster and everybody he brought in. And when you look at the reigning MVP and you look at Zach Wheeler and Aaron Nola and Kyle Schwarber and Hoskins, what he's capable of, JT Realmuto, who we now call BCIB, best catcher in baseball, when you see those guys and you think they got to have a chance. The question to me was depth. How would the bullpen hold up? And then they started playing poorly. They had a brutal April and May, and that led to Girardi's firing on June 1st or 3rd. And then Rob Thompson took over, and they went on this epic win streak. And I thought, all right, I think we've got something here. The problem is with baseball, and I know the critics like to say, well, you can only play you can play. And I get that. But there are teams that are lesser teams and teams that are better teams, and the Phillies were found it difficult to beat the better teams. They gave the Braves a run for their money. They faltered against the Mets, and then they would play poorly against the lower teams. Look what happened at Wrigley a week or so ago. So when that happened, I'm thinking, and then they run into that losing streak at the very end. And I thought, would that be a Philadelphia story or not? It certainly wouldn't be 1964. But I thought, can you imagine this after all the hope? And you know what else, Farzy? The fans tell you the story. And they have been hard-pressed to get the fans to come out to the ballpark. And it's like they want to show me. I'm from Missouri. I want you to prove it to us that we can really do it. And I think in the eyes of the fans, the team never really did that. And so the fans, at least with regard to attendance at the games, they never really got on board. And now, of course, they get to the promised land of the postseason, and I hope everybody's on board. But I really thought once they went on that rip, I don't know what it was, 10 straight, 11 straight, and then 15 out of 20. And when you look at a 596 win percentage under Rob Thompson, almost a 600 win percentage, that's 98 wins over a 162. And that is a pretty damn good record. So I'm going to say I take my chances with this team against any team, especially with that pitching lineup they have.
Mm-hmm. Certainly.
The starting pitching lineup.
Definitely. Well, I heard Dave Dombrowski on the airwaves there at NBC Sports Philadelphia during one of the games recently. I think it was game 2 of this Astros series that just wrapped up. And he talked about how Kyle Schwarber had leadership and respect in the clubhouse, similar to that of Darren Dalton. You obviously worked with Dutch, you covered Dutch, the whole thing. Do you think he has that type of impact? Just from watching him as a media member, do you think he has that type of impact on this clubhouse?
I do, having not been in the clubhouse very much. I don't know exactly how he holds sway over that clubhouse, but he's got this calm about him. He's been through the wars. He's got a World Series ring to his resume. And anytime you got a guy who has done it before, been there before, and knows what it takes to get there, that's a huge thing. And I think also, in baseball, among all the other sports, it's about being calm. It's about being steady. And he could go 0 for 4, and he was, I don't want to say just fine, but he was okay. He knew that they would come back and try to do it the next day. And this team has shown that resilience, and I think he's a main reason for that. Even seeing him bat leadoff. I mean, he's not your prototypical leadoff hitter. And even his on-base percentage, which would have led one to say, oh, okay, I get it. I see why he's leading off, because it was in the high 300s. Even that fell off. And the only thing he had to his credit was home runs. And then even that fell off. Now, all of a sudden, he's starting to get hot with the bat. He's not the fastest guy on the team, but he can get things done. He can get to a ball in left field, and he certainly can leg out a hit if he has to. And I think when you see him straight, steady, and carrying on his business, I think that is the best thing for the team to see. And I do think he's that type of a leader. I won't go as far as Dutch, but again, I don't see him in the clubhouse. Dutch would grab a guy if he had to and say, look, this is what we need from you tonight. And, you haven't been producing the way you've needed to. So I want to see a little bit more from you, and they would produce. I don't know if Schwarber's that kind of guy, but no matter, they're there, and I think they got a chance to do something.
Mm-hmm. Now, I was just going to ask you, 3-game series against the Cardinals. They were 4-3 against the Cardinals during the regular season. All 3 games, hopefully the Phillies only need 2 to finish it out, but all games are scheduled to take place, in St. Louis. So you like their chances in this series?
I do like their chances in this series. I think there's that literal dividing line between the regular season and the postseason, which does concern me a little bit with regard to the Cardinals, because even though the Phils beat them 4 out of 7, and even though Nolan Arenado and Paul Goldschmidt have been down over the month of September, they have not. I mean, Goldschmidt at one point was a viable Triple Crown contender, and he just has not batted. He's batting in the mid 200s. The same with Nolan Arenado. And once you get to the postseason, it is true. All that stuff is gone. We're starting anew. So I don't think it's going to be a cakewalk by any means. I think the Cardinals have the bats. They've got that juice with Albert Pujols and getting his 703, 702. I don't know what it is. It's a lot
over 700.
Yeah, over 700, and they're playing at home, as Scott Rowland said, in baseball heaven. So I think that's a big thing. And you combine with that, the Phillies have struggled on the road this season, and all I'm hoping is Zach Wheeler on the mound, Aaron Nola on the mound, Ranger Suarez on the mound, and the bats that they have, what they're capable of doing with their clutch hitting, will be able to supplant the Cardinals. I think they can. I think they could take it in 2. It wouldn't surprise me. Would it surprise you if they won 2 straight? No. It wouldn't surprise me if they none of the outcomes would surprise me, but I do think that they could beat this Cardinals team, and I think they could give Atlanta a run for the money too.
Ooh, how much fun was that? I mean, look, no one's rooting for the. How much fun is it just to see the fact that the Mets didn't win the division? It's a little fun. It's a little fun.
It's a lot. It's a lot fun. It is a lot fun, and to see. I have so many friends. I grew up in Central New Jersey. I grew up in Mets and Yankees territory, and I know how many Met fans are out there, friends of mine, and we have people who we work with at NBC Sports Philadelphia that are Mets fans, and they're gnashing their teeth, to say the least, to watch how they faltered again. The only thing that worries me about the Mets, and we wouldn't have to worry about this, I don't think, until the NLCS is the Mets have it over the Phillies this year, and they frustrate them, they confound them. And when I look at the Mets playing the Phillies, they look like the World Series contenders, not the Dodgers. The Mets look great. They have clutch hitting, they have great pitching. They got the guy who comes out, the Timmy Trumpets, they're a real good ball team. But I think that as the Phillies have faltered in September, the Mets have done the same against the Braves and in crunch time. So they're there. We'll see what happens. But I like the Phillies' chances to get through this series. I do.
I'm with you there. Shift gears, of course. You do a phenomenal job pre and post Eagles coverage there on NBC Sports Philadelphia. Great panel, Jaws doing great things. Obviously, our friend Ruben Frank doing great things as well. That Barrett Brooks character, I'm still not sure about. No, but this is an interesting game here for the Eagles when it comes to the attempt at going 5-0 to start the season. I asked you about the Phillies' chances against the Cardinals. Now the football Cardinals we can talk about. Eagles' chances against the Cardinals this weekend. Will they go to 5-0, Michael Barkann?
Yes, they will. I think they will go to 5-0. Every phase of football they are excelling at right now, whether it's the offensive line, whether it's at running back, and Miles Sanders racking up 130 some odd yards last weekend. They are decimating the competition so far. They really are. Minnesota came in, and we thought, well, this could be a tough game. You just don't know. They have Kirk Cousins. They have Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson was locked down. They did a great job. They beat Detroit. They beat the Vikings. I think that they have a great chance to go 5-0. Kyler Murray, he's the type of quarterback akin to Jalen Hurts. He's so fast. He's got a great arm, and I think they can contain him. I really do. I think they've got that kind of speed. And when you look at the defensive front, how quick they're playing, all the sacks that they have, Hassan Reddick from Temple and Camden, New Jersey. My goodness, we were worried. Well, the guy doesn't have any sacks. What's going on with this guy? We got him to really affect the offensive line, and he's got 3.5 sacks now in short order. And I think this Brandon Graham's playing like he's a rookie again. Fletcher Cox is playing great. Howie did a great job. I got to give it to Howie. I've been critical of him in the past, but right now it looks like it's all working out. And our old friend Ray Dittinger said before he left for his cruise to goodness knows where, he said, Mike, I think they have a chance to be 5 or 6-0. I said, Ray, really? Is that you, Ray? Is there Ray in there? What have you done with Ray? And for him to say that, and that was in August, for him to say that carried a lot of weight with me. And now to see what we're seeing from this team, I think absolutely they go 5-0, and I think they very well could go 6-0 the following Sunday night.
Any truth to the rumor that Ray Dittinger was one of the people with his face painted chugging beers at the link against the Vikings? I'm pretty sure. I can't call him on it. I can't confirm or deny. I understand. I understand.
Someone pass me a Jaeger, please. Yeah, I need a Yingling, please.
Yes, exactly. Oh, Ray would crush it.
Oh my gosh.
Last thing, my friend, when it comes to Jalen Hurts here. When it comes to Jalen Hurts, it feels like it's rare nowadays in the Instagram world where we see people post themselves working out Ben Simmons, and then we see them come into the season and they're not any better than what they were. Jalen Hurts posted the video. Jalen Hurts came back and is looking like an MVP right now. Tyrese Maxey in basketball, same type of thing. We're seeing him play much better preseason, but still playing better. How rare do you think that is that we see a guy improve to the length of a guy like Jalen Hurts that goes into the offseason struggling at a few things and comes back the next season looking like all he did for those 6 months was work on those things, and you see the improvement?
I think it's rare, but I don't think we should be surprised with Jalen Hurts. And we have a thing in this world, and in particular in this country, where we want the instant gratification of a champion right off the bat. And this guy was a kid. He's runner-up in the Heisman Trophy. Think about the courage he showed, too. And the courage of not being played the way he wanted in Alabama. He transfers to Oklahoma. I mean, are you kidding me? Nick Saban says you're his number 2 quarterback, and you're like, the heck with that. I still think I'm a number 1. I'm going to go someplace and show it. I mean, a lot of people, Nick Saban says you're number 2, then you're like, okay, I guess my career's over. I'm going to be a pharmacist. And that's not what Jalen Hurts did. He goes to Oklahoma. He has a great rest of his college career in Oklahoma, and then he gets drafted by the Eagles. And really, once that happened, that was the end of the Carson Wentz era as we knew it, and that's unfortunate for Wentz and at the time for Eagles fans, but Wentz just could not handle someone looking over his shoulder. Jalen Hurts, when I saw him play, and you talk about Arizona, when I saw him play in a loss at Arizona, which was really the first time he had kind of spread his wings. I said on the air in the postgame show, and Barrett and Seth Joyner and Ray, you talk about reality check, they all looked at me like I had 2 heads. I said, I was giddy after an Eagles loss, and I said, you have just seen the future of the Philadelphia Eagles at the quarterback position, and his name is Jalen Hurts. And I said that because what we saw was something that I thought could be replicated. I didn't think it was a fluke. I didn't think he was running for his life. I thought he had a presence on the field. But here's the thing. He still hadn't been an NFL player for a very long time. Then he gets the starting job. Okay, we're going to give it to him the following season. And he's still, 23 years old, 22 or 23 years old? He was a kid. And they went to the playoffs. But still, I don't know if he's the guy. And then, and I don't think the Eagles did anything to dissuade this opinion. It's like, well, here's what we're going to do. We'll give him one last shot. And if it doesn't work, we bolstered everything around him. And we'll give him one more shot. And if it doesn't work, then we'll worry about the quarterback of the future. But no one thought publicly or maybe even otherwise that this guy could make strides, that this guy could make steps, because he's a coach's son and he wants to work. He works. He never cracks a smile. He's not a giddy type of guy. And I think it wouldn't surprise me if he's a coach someday and not an NFL coach. I could see him being a high school coach or a college coach because he loves the game that much, and he's serious about it. And when you get serious about it and you put your mind to it and you work with who's the guy? Tom House, who works with the pitchers. You work with Tom House out in L.A. He's serious about getting better. And there's a lot of guys, they take the money and the rest is kind of incidental, and that's not the case with Jalen Hurts. He works at it. And you know what? They talk about the game slowing down, and I understand it's a cliche, but it's true in everything we do. Whether when you started doing the radio, you started at NBC Sports Philadelphia, or you started up the Farzy Show, sometimes it takes a little while for stuff to slow down, where you can process everything that starts to come at you more and more quickly. And you need to keep your confidence about you when it does come down around your ears. And when it didn't happen for him, I don't think he lost his confidence. We lost our confidence in him as a public, which was a mistake. And he just, what did he do? He put his nose back to the grindstone after being a playoff quarterback, by the way, in that first starting season. So I think the future's looking up for the Philadelphia Eagles, for Jalen Hurts, and it's going to be exciting. They're not going to be undefeated, I don't think. If they were, that'd be incredible. Imagine that. They're going to challenge the Miami Dolphins with 17-0.
Yeah,
but it'll be 20-0. So yeah, I think that he is on his way to being an MVP, if not an MVP, an MVP caliber performance this year and years after.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you there, my friend. I have high praise of Jalen Hurts, especially right now. What do you guys have cooking up for us here at NBC Sports Philadelphia when it comes to all fine programming?
Let me tell you, we've got Phillies pregame live, so that's a 2:07 start. We're going to be on at 1:30. This will be on Friday afternoon, 1:30, going into the game. The game's on ESPN or ABC. I know it's on ESPN, ABC platforms. And then we'll be doing the same. It's a Saturday night game. I think we'll be on at 8 o'clock. It's like an 8:37 first pitch. Mm-hmm. We'll be on at 8 o'clock with the pregame program. Sunday, TBA, we'll see. It could be another 8:37 start, or it might be earlier, depending on what happens with the other series. And then we've got Eagles 4:25 kick. We'll be on at 3 o'clock with Eagles pregame live. I'm not doing that one unless for some reason, hopefully, the Phillies will have advanced by then, and then I'll be doing Eagles as well.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Looking forward to it.
Michael Barkann, here's to another 25 years of you at NBC Sports.
Buddy.
You do great. I love you right back, man.
We're the Pumas all the time, man, and I'm still sitting in the Farzy chair, and it fills me with creativity, it fills me with energy, and it fills me with passion. You know what I'm saying? I clean off all your cheese curls and the pickles. I clean those off.
Wait, no. The espresso beans. You knock off the espresso beans.
Sorry. Maybe they were my pickles. I apologize. You might be right. And the cheese.
How many times?
Ben Davis brings me cheese curls every day. And I keep thinking of him in about 5 years saying, that's how I killed him. I cheese curl bag by cheese curl bag, one to one. And finally the arteries clogged up, and now I sit in Farzetta's chair. One bag of cheese curls every day for this freaking guy. Yeah.
Oh man, God, Michael, I love you, brother. Thank you so much. Oh, you're the best. My best to the family. The great Michael Barkann joining us there. Michael Barkann, thank you, bud.